What's going on? It's time for an update. Now, as you can see here, I've really turned things around with my trading the past few days and really turned things around, especially from the last week or two. Now, this is by far some of the most consistent trading I have ever done. I'll get into how I've done it. And funnily enough, there's not really been any changes to my strategy, right? And you probably already know this, right? And where I'm heading with this. But more importantly, yes, I'm going to show you the trades, and especially today, as you can see, we're up 1,100, almost $1,200 for the day. And I'll show you the trade that I took, but more important thing, I'm going to talk about what specifically I change with my psychology that's allowed me to do this, right? Because I can talk all day about wait for your setup. I can talk all day about sit on your hands when you need to. Don't take any unnecessary trades. But I'm talking about a few things that have helped me to really enable myself to do that, and what allowed me to catch this trade today, which I'm about to show you. Like the things that I go through in my head that you can actually apply to yourself in your own psychology, in your own trading, to really help. Because I don't think a lot of people talk about this, right? Now, first off, as you can see on the new eval, we're doing quite well. Okay, I started this new eval on Wednesday. Just a fresh eval because I knew after the start of this week, I just needed a complete refresh, right? And I started applying things to my psychology from last week, late last week, and I thought, how about I start with a new eval and I just apply what I've taught myself and the things that I've learned over the past this journey of say 3, 4, 5 months of beginning to trade, and just go through my learnings and everything that I've learned from blowing the funded account that I had, and just some of the paths that I was going down with my trading, and how can we fix that, and what's the psychology that's going to help behind that. Now, as you can see here, this isn't going to stay like this, obviously, but we haven't lost a trade so far, right? And the funny thing is we've been taking one to a maximum of two trades per day. So first off, let's have a look at the trade. Okay, and obviously, as you can see here, we're up on the eval. We're halfway done with this evaluation account. Okay, all I need to do is make another 1,500, right? Whether that's over one trade or a few trades, whatever it is, we basically are halfway there, and then we'll be able to actually get back to a funded account. This is the no fee account, so there's no activation fee. So as soon as I get funded, I'll be able to trade a funded account, right? And the idea is to do the exact same thing on the funded and not change anything. So let's have a look at my trade tonight. And I literally only took this, gosh, it would have been about an hour I exited this trade. I'm going to talk about my thought process. Okay. But then more importantly, after this, I'm going to talk about the psychology part because that's the most important. So this is MNQ today. We'll go to 15-minute. And from open today, so Asia Open for me is 9 in the morning. So we opened from here and we pretty much were just going we're already at a downtrend. Okay, I think this trade, was this yesterday? I think this might have been one of the break evens that I took yesterday. I can't remember when this was. When was this? The 5th of March. So yeah, this was yesterday. I think I took a little bit of profit out of here. This was one of the trades. Again, great execution by my part. I think the trade that I took here, I don't necessarily remember it. I remember I took out a little bit of profit, like partial profits. But again, it was a trade that I know yesterday I waited for my setup on. It was nothing that I forced, which I'm really happy about. And reason why I'm making this video and to why the eval is 100% win rate right now, right? So going into today, I knew we were still bearish because we created this new low last night or early this morning. Okay, we created this new low. Usually, and this is something I've picked up by just really devouring the charts, especially MNQ, the past few weeks, especially the past couple of months, how the markets have been going. Predominantly what's been happening is it will span usually Asia and some of London session, accumulating all of this liquidity. So it took in Asia session, because Asia session doesn't really move much, MNQ, because obviously it's more favored to the American market, New York session, right? So we were accumulating all of this liquidity all day. And in my mind, what's been happening a lot of the time, as you can see here, is we'll come down either in London or New York session. And this actually happened in Asia session, but usually what happens, so we got New York session here and then New York session here as well. This was again New York session. Usually, because the markets have been down, we've been quite bearish, either in London or New York, we will start to come down. And obviously, it's not just that. I'm not just going by that alone. I've got different confluences for that as well, but obviously, we're still bearish. And what's been happening a lot on MNQ is that we'll accumulate all of this liquidity, and then we'll obviously have a big move up or down. Now, in my mind, we created a new low, so we were bearish, and we had what I call a no close, or what I've learned to be a no close, which means that price doesn't necessarily close above. There's no full candle wicks closed above here, which means that price is respected here. And then if we go to the 3-minute where I actually had my execution, I waited again for confirmation because I thought, look, what I would usually do is just enter straight away. Maybe like around here I would enter. But I thought, let's have a look and see if if on the lower time frame the market structure shifts. So as we started to really balance out here and then start creating lower lows on the lower time frame, I thought this could be where our entry's coming. I waited, didn't trade Asia session, didn't take any setups. I usually trade gold sometimes as well. Didn't bother taking any setups, nothing fit my plan until this happened. And then we had a no close, and I thought, hey, this is actually a good opportunity. I waited for a confirmation. I think it was actually on the 5-minute I waited for. Yeah. So my confirmation was if we had a candle close on the 5-minute that was below and engulfed this green wick, this green candle here, then that was my entry. So that was my entry. It was a small enough stop loss, whereas small enough risk that I was okay with. Like if I lost, it wasn't going to be a big deal, but that was my entry. And this was actually a trade where I just got off the charts completely. I wasn't here for this whole entire move. I was just off the charts. This is another thing that I'm going to talk about with my psychology. So by the time I got back onto the charts, we were about here in the leg of price. And I thought, okay, this is looking pretty good. We basically spent no time in drawdown. This is looking very bearish. My first target was here, and I thought I will wait and watch price. I'll wait and watch price and see what it does. We pretty much had no resistance, so I didn't even take partials or anything here because it could have been a possibility that this could have reversed here and got back up, but I was watching price at this point, and we didn't really have any resistance, so I just waited. And then I was actually targeting down here because this would have been $1,500 for this trade if it hit down here, and that would have been to stay in the consistency rules with Top Step. So that's where I was at with that trade. So what ended up happening was as we came down here, I was basically just trailing my stop loss, right? And I pretty much I wanted to sort of be a bit strict with my take profit, I should say. Sorry, not my stop loss, with my take profit. And I was basically trailing it. And I put it basically up at around this high and was basically waiting to see what price was doing after we had these two wicks here. And this is like, I would consider, the beginning, it could be a possible rejection. And then we had this green candle here, right? The bullish candle. To me, that was like, okay, we could actually reject here and go up a little bit. Now, more than likely what's going to happen to price here is that it's going to continue. It'll go up and then it'll come back down and more than likely go to this low or at least around here. But I was okay to exit, right? And I think I did a pretty good job because even if price does come back down, I'm happy with my exit and I pretty much caught an entirely huge move, right? So that's the trade. Now, what has allowed me to do this in my psychology and what am I thinking while I'm on the charts during the day? Because for me, just obviously, if you didn't know, I work for myself. So I've got a lot of time. I can allocate a lot of time, especially in Asia session when market opens at 9 a.m. my time. I live in Queensland, Australia. So market opens 9 a.m. my time. I can get on the charts and basically, if I really wanted to, I could sit on the charts all day. But that's not healthy. I've learned that that's not healthy. And I've learned that majority of the time, we're not really going to get big moves, especially in MNQ. Sometimes on gold we will. Well, a lot of the time on gold recently we have. But to really help with my psychology, I thought, well, for one, we're probably going to get better moves in London. So maybe just don't even bother looking at the charts until late afternoon. 2, during the day, I need to focus on something else other than the charts, okay? And I will check the charts here and there to see if something makes sense. right? I would check gold. I check gold today. I check MNQ. Nothing here made sense. Like during this price action, nothing made sense to me at all until we started to change up market structure here. And I thought this could actually be a good opportunity. More than likely, we will get a drop here because we're bearish, right? And we're coming into London because you can see here, London that was around 5:45. London opens at about 6 p.m. and I thought that's actually perfect, right, around that entry. So that's my thought process. And again, psychology, in my opinion, it's really important for me to stay busy. Obviously, I've got other businesses that I run, a couple other businesses. I focus on that completely, and I've been focusing on that completely. And what I was doing before was focusing all of my attention on the charts and on my need to win, right? On my need to like win a trade or get into a trade. Because I've been focused on something else, it allows me the breathing room in my brain and my psychology to just come back to the charts fresh and have a look and see if there is anything that presents itself. And this essentially just presented itself, right? If price continued going up, I wouldn't have taken anything, but price showed me this entry and I took it, right? So it allows me to just keep my mind off the charts and also not overthink my entry. And then also to just come in with a clear mind and don't really second guess anything that I do in the charts. So that's really important. And that is what has allowed me to have trades like this. Now, funnily enough, I don't have the trade with me here, but this first trade here could have very had a high chance of being around $1,000. This was a trade on gold. It was a perfect setup for me. Only reason I took partials was because I was targeting a week high, like an initial week high, and it didn't end up getting near there, and it actually ended up reversing. And basically, it was at a point in time where I was like, okay, this could actually very much well reverse. And I just took that profit, not really so much out of being scared that the trade like wouldn't play out, but just going off of data. And that's been the biggest thing for me is I've just been trading off of data and what's presented to me and off of my plan, and the results show, right? So that's one thing that's helped with my psychology. The second thing that's really helped me to start to really just compound this consistency is that the way that I think about trading now, and you really got to drive this home because you can hear it and say, yes, that makes sense, but you've really got to understand it. With trading, less is more. Less is more, right? So if I was to take this trade today, for instance, and instead of being a win of 11 or 1,200 bucks, I lost what I risked. I think I risked about 180 bucks on this trade. Not much at all on the 50K account. If I lost that trade, I would have said, okay, where I had my stop loss, it shows me that it invalidated the shorts and we're more than likely going up higher, right? And I would have just gotten off the chart, maybe had a look later on, but I wouldn't have forced anything. And what I was doing before was if I got a break even or I lost a trade, I'd look for another entry. I'd say, okay, I had the mindset that I was applying to my other businesses, which is the more you push, the more you grind, the more you get out of it. Because I've always learned in my businesses and in life, when you grind, when you push, your output only matches your input, right? With trading, it's completely different. Okay, yes, you need to learn, you need to journal, you need to log your trades, but when you are active on the charts, less is more. The less trade you take is actually better, right? Now, I'm not talking about taking one trade per month, okay, or a couple of trades per month, okay? I at least would like to have like 1 or 2 opportunities per day. But you don't want to be doing 5 trades, 10 trades, 15 trades a day. Like that's too much. And if all of those are like break evens, some are losses, some are wins, and you're just floating up and down with your P&L, that's what's exhausting. I can tell you that this week, even though it's been like one of my best weeks in trading, just consistency wise, it's actually felt the easiest because I just wait. I make sure I mark out what is true structure for me on the charts for price action, and I just trade off of that. And that has helped with my mentality so much. And it's also helped me be more calm and collected on the charts. So the plan from here is to just continue doing this up until I get funded. And then once I get funded, I just continue doing the same thing. Nothing changes. Because if I continue doing this, and obviously it's not going to be a straight curve, there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be days where I lose, I might get a little bit tilted. But if I just stick to doing this exact same thing each day, set a daily loss limit, if I lose more than, say, 2 trades a day, or if I lose more than one, if I lose 2 trades a day, get off for the day, keep it simple, stay strict with my risk management, but more importantly, just do trades that make sense for me. That's basically how we're going to continue this momentum. So, biggest thing for me again is the fixes to my psychology. I haven't really changed anything in my strategy, really. It's just I've had tweaks here and there. I continue to tweak. I'm by no means super advanced at this, or I've got a long way to go to be consistently profitable. Okay, first yet, got to take my first payout as well. So it's biggest thing is psychology. So if you are struggling, write down your issues with psychology. This is what I did. Write down the issues with psychology and how you can best fix them, or at least start to fix them. That's what I did with myself. I was I was scared of a lot of loss. That being scared of loss and being scared of, I guess, losing and then not having another setup to allow me to win back that money is what caused a lot of my downfall, especially with the funded accounts, and it's what's caused me to blow some accounts, right? So the way I fixed that was, hey, look, you're not going to get anywhere by stressing yourself out by over trading or by trying to get into different entries every single day. Like, pick a setup that's good, that's very high probability of working out, that you know works with your system. Take the trade. Don't have hesitation. One of two things are going to happen. You're either going to, well, three things, I guess you could say. One is you lose the trade. Two is you break even. The third thing is you actually win, right? Go so you take profit, right? Or partials, whatever, but you win the trade. And they're the only three outcomes. Now, if you lose a trade, as long as you're not over risking, the rest doesn't matter. If I'm risking $150 a trade on this 50K account and I lose that trade, I'm only down $150. All right. The only way that traders lose this, right? If someone's in my position and they tend to overtrade and they tend to revenge trade, the only way, if they're on a 50K account, for instance, and they're risking $150 per trade, the only way they're going to lose a $1,500 P&L is if they continue to trade after that. So one thing I've heard that I've learned to be very true is that you can't control the outcomes, but you can control how you react to it afterwards when it comes to trading. So you can't control a loss. If it fits, you obviously you want to take trades that highly likely to win in your favor. But if you take a loss, you can't control that, but you can control what you do after. So if you choose to re-enter the same trade because you think you just missed the move and you want to get back in, or you reverse the position because you think, hey, look, I thought it was going up and now it's going down, let's reverse, and then you take another loss, that's your fault. That's something you can control. Get off the charts, whether it's a win, loss, break even, get off the charts and come back later, right? That's what I've been doing. That's something that I've learned a lot this week, and it reflects. So I'm just going to continue doing this. I'll take you guys along the journey with me, and hope you're staying safe. I'll see you in the next one.